There it is. We have officially done it, even though it has now been over a week since I officially achieved this because, well, I am now recording this on Thursday, April the 11th, when comparatively I completed this game on Wednesday the 3rd. But either way, I figured there's a few more things for me to showcase before I close this game off. So, again, if you want to be guaranteed 100%, then basically you need to sign with the sponsors Alpine, NOS, and Grady. And how you get the Grady sponsorship? Well, basically you need to do all of the Stage 4 events on the easy difficulty, and you also need to make sure that you're basically scoring 300 rap points in almost every event of Stage 4 in order to get the Grady sponsorship, because Grady is the highest sponsor you can get in Stage 5. The other two, however, you don't need to go quite as high on the average rep score, but they still need to be good rep scores if you want to sign with both these brands. Plus, the number of street cross races you do are also crucial to you achieving the triple digits, because, well, there's a total of 36 street cross races that you need to do. And if you can do all 36 street cross races, along with doing all of the other races in the game, then that should give you 100%. So again, the sponsors you need are Alpine, NOS, and Grady in order to get 100% guaranteed. At least that's from what I know anyway. Okay, now that I've spent the last 2.5 minutes getting that out of the way, there is one more thing I should showcase to you before closing this game off. And yes, we do have to go back to the main menu for this. And that is the extras. Now, I will officially play you a clip that pretty much shows whether or not you have officially got the cheat code to work. It's basically just a bunch of controller mechanisms that you basically need to put in place at the start button screen. And of course, if you put in the code correctly, then you will officially get a bonus feature in the main menu screen. In other words, there will be bonus features for you to check out if you're so inclined to check those out. Unfortunately, however, I wasn't able to get the Pontiac GTO with the Doors logo, because I would assume that, well, the Doors version of the Pontiac GTO, I think that's probably region locked, because, well, I'm playing the PAL version, and in case you do or don't know, the Doors were an American rock band, so I would assume the reason why I could not get that car in my codes is because the feature itself was because the code itself was region locked. But I did manage to get the others. There's also a few other features as well when you're starting a new profile, but I don't really feel the need to show those off because, well, I have no reason to. Also, because most of the cheat codes I have here are basically suitable for the PC version, but not so much the PS2 version. But there is at least a few that will work for the PS2 version. Okay, anyways. So I am now going to showcase to you what happens if you correctly input a cheat code from the start button screen. Okay, hopefully that has given you an idea over what it is you would come to expect. So let's head over to Customize, because I know that's where a lot of these features are available. And if I basically use a car, for example, say, yeah, let's go with the Lexus. So if I choose the Lexus IS300, you will notice here from the main menu that we have unlocked the wide body kits. And unfortunately, this is a feature that's only available in the customization options, not in the career mode itself, unfortunately. And of course, if I do put on one of these body kits, you will notice that most of the 5 wide body kits are applicable to the IS300. However, if I swap out the IS300 for... where is it? I'll try the 3000 GT first, once I can find it. Is this car applicable with all of them? Let's check. No it isn't. Okay, it must just be the rally cars then. Well, anyway. Heading over now to the Subaru Impreza. And basically, what I can do here is, you will notice all 5 body kits are applicable. Oh, okay, it must just be the Mitsubishi then. That must be the only one that's applicable to all of them. But anyway, point is, there is a total of 5 body kits you can choose from. Oh, must just be 4 then. Okay, well anyway. Point is, what I'm trying to make here is that the wide body kits are only available from the main menu, body shop, in other words, the customization options, rather than being available from the outliers of the game itself. Where basically, once you do the wide body kit event, you only really get 1 body kit. And basically, well, as you can see here, some body kits, they look a bit uglier than others. Or less appeasable, I should say. I wouldn't say they're straight up bad, but they don't particularly look very good. And well, Apocalypse on the skyline, yeah, sorry, that to me just doesn't work. But anyway, yeah. So, the wide body kits are only available from the main menu, not in the career mode, unfortunately. Okay, I think now that I've got all that shit out of the way, let's move on to something that's a bit more fun. So, you will notice if I head over here that we have a few other final options here. Again, these are only available from the main menu. So, what I'm going to start with is I'm going to show off the sponsor vinyls. And yes, there's only 2 that are available in the PAL version. There is the Burger King logo, which I think is pretty impressive. I should also mention, I prefer the original Burger King logo better. We also get Singular Wireless. Unfortunately, that company doesn't exist anymore because Singular these days is only known as AT&T. But it used to be a popular cell phone company in America at the time. You also get Edge Advanced Shave Gel, and Old Spice for our sponsor vinyls. We also get the contest vinyls, which I think actually look pretty good. And I can certainly say these vinyls were definitely designed by professionals. But as to which one of these was the winner, well, I really couldn't tell you. Although, I don't mind the Too Fast For You livery, that's actually not too bad. But there is another one I quite like. I can just find it here for a second. It should be in here somewhere. I quite like the Aces of Lust vinyl, because it's basically just playing cards with a checkered flag, and also with a spade on the hood as well. I think that's pretty cool. I also don't mind the Rick Libby livery either, because it's basically an alien with a laser gun. That actually looks pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, those are the contest liveries, and I'm gonna check and see what else there is. Oh yeah, that's right, there's the bonus cars I might as well showcase whilst I'm here. But yeah, so one more thing to add to the wide body kits, they can be applicable to literally every car in the game. They all have wide body kits available, but depending whether or not they suit your car, it's entirely up to you. So, you know, depending on what you think about the wide body kit, I'll let you decide, because there are some opinions I simply cannot describe. But what we also get... oh, it must just be available in the quick race option, not in the customize option. Okay, so if I head over here and select a course, whichever one it is. Sure, let's go out to ring. You will notice that we get more cars available. As of which, for starters, we get our career cars, which are basically the cars I chose. We also get stock cars, all cars, but most importantly, the sponsor cars. Basically, car designs that were chosen by a few of the game's music artists. So, first of all, we get the Lincoln Navigator, as designed from within the eyes of the rapper Chingy, which doesn't look too bad. We also get the Capone-designed Hummer H2, which I also think looks okay. I can definitely say it stands out in green. It's almost like the car itself went into the jungle and basically got a paint job, more or less. Because it seems to be green mostly. Anyway, there is that. We also get the Mitsubishi Eclipse, as designed by D3, or in resemblance to D3 more or less. And I think this doesn't look too bad. It's not too big, it's also not too small. I reckon this car flies right up my street, is what I think. And last but not least, we have the Lexus IS300, more specifically the Shine Street Lexus IS300. I couldn't tell you precisely what Shine Street is, but if someone is going to tell me in the comments, then well, please do so, because I have very little information on Shine Street. I'm sorry if that becomes a complaint excuse to some of you. Although personally, because hardly anyone tunes into this, nobody really cares. But whatever. And this is the final of our sponsored cars which we can get here. Again, I don't know what Shine Street is, but either way, these are the sponsored cars. And I think that's pretty much everything we need to cover here, as far as I'm concerned. And I think that's pretty much going to do it from the extras of Underground 2. Except for saying that the other features which are available, they can only be available if you start off a new career mode, and in all honesty, I don't really feel committed enough to do that, so what I'm going to do instead is just head to the stats screen again, and basically just get on with my closing thoughts on the game. So, yeah. Again, as I said before, the sponsors you need to sign with if you want to be guaranteed 100% are Alpine, NOS, and Grady. And if you have to do the entire game on 100%, or most of the game on the easy difficulty in order to get to 100%, then, you know, go for it. Anyways. I think that's pretty much going to do it now. So we've basically done everything we can physically do, and that also makes me the first person on YouTube ever to do a complete and thorough 100% playthrough on the PS2 version of Underground 2. Even though hardly anyone pays attention to this. But whatever. So these are my stats again. And if you can get rep scores that are similar to these from stages 2 to 4, and you sign with the sponsors I signed with, which again are Alpine, NOS, and Grady, then you should be in a good position to get 100%. But anyways, I think after spending the last 18 minutes now ranting, more or less, I think that's pretty much going to do it from this game. And now, there we go. And thus concludes Need for Speed Underground 2. You know, I find it amazing to consider that this game is nearly 20 years old, and yet it still very much lives up to every inch of the hype that it basically got before it was released. And well, I am glad to say that this game basically is a continuation story on from Underground 1, which in all honesty is a pretty good game, even though it did have its fair share of flaws. But I still say it was a good game nonetheless. And well, this game, however, it basically takes everything from Underground 1 and it takes it to the next level. And I do understand why there is a proportionate amount of the Need for Speed fanbase who do consider this game to be the best on all versions. But with the PS2 version, however, I don't think this game is quite the best. There's a few areas this game missed out on, namely with the progression bug, and knowing that unless you sign with the right sponsors, the game basically locks you out from scoring 100%. There's probably a few other issues as well with the PS2 version. But aside from that, the only other problem I can really think of would basically have to be with just how conceptually flawed the outruns are, because there are certain corners and bends where during outrun races, if you're not leading by a long way, you're basically losing by a long way, and sometimes the outruns can become irritating. They can also become annoying when you're basically trying to run away from your opponent, but then at other times the game just decides you have to catch back up to the opponent. It can be a bit confusing and somewhat intimidating at times, but I reckon it's still pretty cool knowing that regarding the outruns that you win, you do manage to get a neat little bonus in return. I also wish that the winning amount of feet could have been maybe 750 or 800 feet rather than 1,000 feet, because I think that probably would have made my job easier if the required winning distance was a bit less compared to what the actual required distance was in order to win the outrun. And at times it can also become a slugfest if you have not clinched it within the first few minutes, and it can get drawn out quite long, and it can basically get drawn out into a long slew fest of you basically just not being able to get away from the guy you're racing. So, you know, there is that. The customization process I quite liked as well. It is pretty fun to customize your cars as well as race them, and basically making them about as much of a visual eye candy representation as what you can make them out to be. And I think it is pretty cool to know that they added a lot more features with the car customization, and with the wide body kits and other bits and pieces which by today's standards would probably be considered superfluous, because a lot of it these days would just be regarded as unnecessary bodywork. But back then, it was a pretty cool trend, and if there's one thing I can guarantee that will change over the course of 20 years, it's trends. But do I still think this game in 2024 is still worth your time? Yes. However, for me, if I was to put this game against Hot Pursuit 2, I would still choose Hot Pursuit 2. And there's a few reasons why. Now, the first reason is, well, because I think the overall playability of Hot Pursuit 2 was just a little bit better than this game. And aside from that, the soundtrack I think is a banger, because the soundtrack itself is basically loaded with bangers, and basically it's a soundtrack that you can more or less do anything to. And also, with those Need for Speed Edition cars, In other words, the exclusive variant to Hot Pursuit 2 that you get of basically every car in Hot Pursuit 2. I think that in and of itself was quite remarkable, to say that the cars themselves already looked really cool without needing all of the over excessive bodywork, when the cars themselves already looked cool with their paint jobs and also their vinyls. But I think that's one thing which definitely stands out to me about Hot Pursuit 2, and also because there were certain requirements that you simply didn't need in order to actually finish the game. That, to me, is enough of a reason to say why I think Hot Pursuit 2 is the better game. On the console versions of the Need for Speed games, at least with the PlayStation console versions of the games, I think Hot Pursuit 2 is still objectively the king. But this game does come close. There's a few areas it missed out on, but it does come close. And do I still think this game is worth your time? As I said before, yes. In 2024, I'd say this game is still very much worth your time, and if you do get round to playing it, then please do so. I reckon you'll enjoy it. Okay, I think that's going to do it now. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to get off my plate. I also came up with a more satisfactory approach, to me at least, and that's pretty much going to do it from me and Underground 2. So all I can say now is a big thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next gaming LP I do, which is going to be a good one. 3. That's all I'm going to say until the game itself comes out. But if you've seen the intro to my next game, then you'll probably already know what it is. But anyways, yeah. So, as I said before, thanks for watching, and until the next one, I'll see you around. Peace.
No one can rise up, I need speed. When I'm racing that strip, I got the bull and the chip. Your car like something to strip. Throw up the key, the hoopty whip to the squatters. Whoever putting the dollars, holler, we see who car hotter.